computer? All right, wonderful, wonderful.
Okay.
Thanks so much for coming.
Yeah, yeah. I believe it or not, just looked at the list, so there are a few I would know. Um, coming, Jeff Friedman, of course, and Jeannie, and you said Tom will not be able to make it, right?
Right, right. He said he was not able to come. And believe it or not, Jeff Friedman sent a photograph with Adam Sandler of, yeah,
Yeah.
of the comedian. Uh, and there, he's on a cruise somewhere. And, you know, he got a picture of him with Adam Sandler. And
Okay.
so whenever you check in to the site later on, you'll be ready to go, and you can watch the entirety of
Okay.
just the two of us talking. This is the scope of the Chapin Runathon uh, crew that's able to make it today. No, it's okay. Whoever comes, comes. That's the way I
Yeah,
look at it.
sure. Yeah. Um, Another name, uh,
Case, Tim Case,
I'm sorry.
Tim Case.
Nat, I remember.
Yeah.
Nat Case, and there's a Jeff Ladon. Was there a sister Jackie Ladon?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought I remembered Jackie.
Yes.
And I think Jeff is a younger sibling.
Yes, he is. Yes.
Okay.
And so great to see you. So
Yeah.
you have a full head of hair, and I have
Um,
the remnants of a forest that once was thinned out by invading nomads that cut it down to smithereens.
well, yeah, mine's rapidly finding its way all over the house, so I don't know how much longer it will be where it is right now. But
Looks
uh,
good. Looks good. And,
anyway,
uh, and so now you taking care of the 10-year-old right now?
no, not tonight, but sometimes on a school night, I end up staying. She's either brought here or I go stay where she lives with my son, her dad.
Okay.
But tonight, um, she's otherwise occupied. So
Okay. Well,
yeah.
it's great to see you. And I chose to do it tonight. This is the 49th runathon. I never thought I'd make it this far. And
Mhm.
God bless me if I can make it another year. I'll have a half century of doing this
Great.
stuff.
That's unbelievable. It's great, a great legacy for you, man. Really good. I have very nice memories of it. Um, I was never really much of a runner myself, but I always enjoyed participating in the runathons the 3 years that I was there.
Yeah, well, it's got a million stories,
Yeah.
and some of them good, some of them great, some of them not so good. But
Mhm.
it's always a wonderful opportunity to get together, and we used to hold it for originally it was 24 hours. Tomorrow it's going to be 3 hours, but
Oh, okay.
at least it's 3 hours, and this new computerized society, everybody's got other things that they are going to be programmed into,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah, I remember. Um, you got me wondering. Does that sod farm behind Thayer's campus, behind Chapin's campus, still exist?
No, no.
Uh,
The whole thing has been sold off. That was Reed's sod farm,
that's
and yep, and there it's been subdivided into many parcels. Of
uh,
course, we used to use the perimeter of the sod farm about 2.5 miles.
I remember. Yep.
It was great, but as it turns out, one time I was walking around with a trundle wheel, one of those little. recording wheels.
Oh, yeah. Hmm.
And woman came out of her house. She says, "Are you a developer?" No lie. This is 52 years ago. And I said, "No, no, not a developer." But yeah, it's times change every year.
Yeah.
Chapin did not have a lot of space whenever I first came. There
Hmm.
was a lawyer's house on the right hand side, and we just had the big field, and we did not have the field adjacent to much farther than the outside of the parking lot. That was it.
Right. Yeah, that's what I remember.
Yeah.
And I seem to remember that I know cross country ran back on this sod farm,
Yes.
but I think I remember the runathons going back there at night as well. At least one year.
Well, I don't remember. I know we have taken many journeys, and we would start off at Chapin around 8:30, and we would walk from Chapin and walk to Rocky Hill along the canal and back again.
Oh,
That was
okay.
about 18 miles. Uh,
Oh,
18 miles is a good stretch, and it was always fun because I told Mr. Goff, I said, I'm going stir crazy running circles around this place all the time, so I'm going to go somewhere else. And I think one year we took 10, 12 out on, and we headed straight across what then were the sod farms, went down to the canal park, Delaware and River Canal Park, and then went up to Rocky Hill, up the hill into Rocky Hill. There was a Burger King there. Would stop and would have lunch there.
hmm.
Then on one occasion we walked along 206 coming back. That was a little hairy.
I bet, yeah.
Yeah. And most of the time, we just came back along the trail, along the Delaware and Raritan Canal, and it was a lot of fun. But it
Mhm.
was, we're at we couldn't fudge on our mileage because I knew how far it was. I
Yeah.
couldn't say, well, we did two of those. Nah, couldn't do that. But I'm blessed to know all the folks who learned a lot about persistence and about their own internal courage by doing the Chapin Runathon. Uh, one of the parents told me, well, her son just recently completed the Boston Marathon for charity. And she told me that she told everybody in a Facebook that the first time that he did it as a first grader or something like that, he conned somebody to give him $50 a mile.
Hmm.
Okay. And he did 10, 20 miles, something like that.
Yeah.
Oh my, that's a big chunk of change.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there
Wow.
were so many parents and such that got on and really kind of got into it in a big way. It used to be a practice thing for cross country. That's what it was originally designed to be.
Oh, okay. I remember, I guess the overnight part best, going out in teams of 6, 8, 10, and doing the loop and coming back, resting while a few others went, and then going again and again and again. Um, it was really nice to have that community thing going with parents and siblings of students there, and I guess there were friends that participated too. I'm not too sure about that, but yeah, it was good. Such a nice idea. I have not encountered anything like that in either the school where I landed and stayed for 40 years after I left Chapin, or any of the schools that that one would compete against in their athletic league. I've never heard of another
Yeah.
event quite like it.
I think Thomas Thompson went to the Princeton Friends, which was the place down at the near the the Stone Bridge, uh, going over to Princeton, above Stony Creek, Stony Brook rather, excuse me, and they started their own runathon. I helped a
Mhm.
little bit with that, but not much. And it was fun. It was always fun, and it was the it became a real dogfight for a lot of these kids because at one point they started offering prizes.
Oh,
Yeah, and although the idea was great, these kids they would they were hell bent for leather, if you will, on acquiring first place for miles, for money, or for number of sponsors. So there were three different categories, and it was we'd have a an assembly and hand out certificates that I would originally I hand calligraphied all the certificates.
mm.
It took me so long,
Yeah.
so
Wow.
long to do that. And then we went to just printed out certificates. And toward the end, I think they dispensed with all of the Runathon awards, except for the end of Sports Day. They acknowledged the Runathon winners at that point. But I believe we've made well over $1 million for Chapin. And
Wow.
I think this year they are trying to wrangle somebody, a big donor, said for every dollar raised, I will triple that amount. So
Wow.
that works.
Yeah, that's great. Wow. Um, is the student body size approximately the same as back in the early days?
It varies from year to year. And
Hmm.
uh, I don't know if your school in Braintree experienced fluctuations, but yeah,
Just just
Chapin
some
has.
school. Yeah, yeah. But we were able to. There was enough property at Thayer Academy that they were able to build out a little bit and increase the size partly for that reason. The science building was increased by at least 30%, and other renovations along the way. A new art center gave more room. So yeah, I think when I started, it was approximately 85 um, students per grade level, and when I left, it was more like 120 in ninth through 12th grade.
Wow,
Um,
that's wonderful.
and there's a middle school too, but that the class size there was much smaller building at the time. So I never taught in the middle school at at my next school, Thayer Academy, but I did teach in a summer program there quite a few years, and there were certainly middle school age kids in that summer program. So it was very nice to work with that age group again. I always had such fond memories of my Chapin classes and students. Um,
Wonderful.
yeah.
I remember when you and Mr. Randall were the lacrosse coaches. Is that right?
That's right.
And now there is no more softball in the spring, and there's no more lacrosse. They've replaced them with volleyball and touch football. So,
Oh,
flag football, if you will.
yeah.
Things change, and certainly, they have to be able to take care of the students in the proper manner and based on the size. Chapin did drop in size. Um, I think the largest that I recall was around 320 or so. But it's not. I've been out. This is my 10th year of retirement, so things
Yeah.
have changed a lot, and I haven't been down to the school. With COVID, I wasn't there for 3 or 4 years, missed everything, and it kind of got me out of the uh,
Yes. Sure.
yeah, out of the loop. But doing my thing every morning. I wish everybody a happy birthday and this day in history with John Halleck, who unfortunately passed away a few years ago. I try to keep up the thoughts of the alumni and just have some fun with it.
Yeah, yeah, I admire you for doing that. That's how we got back in touch. You will remember, and you put me in touch with Nat and and Jeannie Bishop Stolzman
Yeah,
and Jane Webb. I think those are the three that I was able to communicate since you located, me among 10,000 other James Kings out there in the world.
yeah. Your name is so. I went. This is going to be a real problem. And then Nat Case came along and he said, well, maybe I can help you. What do you mean? How can you help me? He says, well, didn't he go to Thayer Academy? I know you went north, but I didn't remember the precise name. So Thayer Academy. Okay, well, I looked you up and I called and Linda answered the phone and she said, no, he's not here right now, but I'll pass the message along. And that's how this
Yeah,
kind of developed. And I'm certainly glad it did. And, this is difficult for those who are still working to make any kind of a commitment from, one of the guys was out in San Jose. And so it's only like 2:17 there. So it's in the middle of his afternoon. So
sure.
he sent in a video.
Hmm. Well, yeah, it's good of you to try. And yeah, what was I going to say? Yeah, about lacrosse. I remember. I think it was my second of the 3 years. A parent who had played lacrosse in college thought it would be great for Chapin, and he donated money for Chapin to buy equipment to outfit a team. And I had never even seen a game of lacrosse played. And Tom Randall at least had seen the game played, but neither of us really knew much about it. And we had to learn as we went. And some of the students were actually a bit practiced. I remember Jeff Friedman was quite good, for example. And, we learned a lot from some of the seventh, eighth graders that were on the team. Um, and I remember there were 4 games the first year. I don't remember which schools we played against, but I remember the first game we were defeated by something like 20 points. And in the fourth game, we played that school again, and we lost by only 4 points. And the team felt so good about it. It was almost as if we had won the World Series, to have cut the lead that drastically in the span of just 4 games. Really made everybody feel great.
Wonderful. Wow.
So,
I can remember the fella who wanted to bring lacrosse to Chapin was, and I don't think you know this guy, Bruce Delventhal. Do you remember that name?
don't. No.
Okay. Bruce Delventhal had worked at with Norman Vincent Peale at the Marble Collegiate Church in New York City,
Hmm.
and he was an ex um, minor league pro. He played in college. He played in. He had a minor league contract, and he was a big guy. And he said, "This is what Chapin needs, lacrosse." And so he got the ball started. And believe it or not, Bruce Delventhal is in the National Collegiate Hall of Fame for hockey as a coach for
Mhm.
RPI. And I
Mhm.
think RPI, and he coached in a bunch of them. And he was a go-getter in that respect. But yeah, you remember Wes Lofgren?
Yes, yes.
Wes Lofgren played. He was probably very good.
Yeah.
Um, Grant Crawford.
Yep. Yep.
Grant Crawford comes by quite often. He's down in the Baltimore area, but he has been a few different places, and I'm sure he would have I'm sure he's missing this opportunity to say hello to each of us.
Hmm.
But I'm trying to think. There were a number of folks that played from that class of '79
Hmm.
and had a real good time. It was wonderful, and of course I had the softball, which is the cake sport of the of the two. All you had to do is get up and swing and catch the ball. You didn't have to do wind sprints
Hmm.
incessantly to get good. And there were, and I remember, I don't, I remember Chapin playing Flemington. Do you remember that team?
No.
Okay, I think Charles Fuller, who who followed Tom Randall, got Flemington onto the schedule, and these guys were farm boys, and some of them were like 6'2" in eighth grade, and it was a real great game to play against them. PDS probably played PDS,
Oh, yes. Yep.
probably Pennington,
Yep. I remember Pennington and PDS.
and probably Hun.
And
Hun.
yes, that's right.
Yep, and those very competitive schools, and just a lot of camaraderie. And then during the runathon, I don't remember if you know this one or not, but the kids who had to do runathon had to actually try out for the team. They had to run 5 miles in 1 hour, and if they couldn't muster the 5 miles in an hour, they got to do it again. And if they missed that one, they got to try it a third time. If they missed all three tries and they were really trying hard, they were you're on anyway because of your persistence. Uh, and their Hunt Katzenbach was I think he did something like 50 52 to 54 miles.
Oh, geez. Wow.
Yeah, yeah, and he was a big guy and just a lot of heart and a lot of effort.
Hmm.
And Tony McDowell and Doug McDowell were in it in the runathon, and it was, like I said, it was primarily to get us ready for cross country the next year.
Hmm.
And the nurse, Kathleen Peach, she said, "Hey, Steve, I got an idea." And I go, "What's that, Kathy?" She goes, "Well, it's one place that we got sponsors. So why don't you get the kids to get sponsors per mile? They get a certain amount per mile, and we'll raise some money." Wow, that's a great idea. Well, that actually had that carried the whole thing forward, because then there was a monetary amount that Chapin would make. It was split between Chapin and another organization, and so the first year we didn't split it. We just took the whole thing, and it was enough to buy the school's first digital computer, a Tandy Radio Shack 1000.
I think I remember when you started that. Yeah. Yeah.
And and that again, it just happened to be enough money to buy one of them.
Mhm.
We didn't have enough money to buy an Apple II computer. They were twice as much money. But the Tandy Radio Shack with a tape, cassette tape drive, we bought. And that started the computer program. So it was kind of, in a roundabout way, very funny,
Yeah.
but there aren't too many schools that can say the kids started their own computer program.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
You mentioned Tony McDowell.
Yeah.
Have you been in touch with her?
I have not. I have been in touch with Doug McDowell, who lives in San Francisco, and he does a lot of coaching of, um, little league and such. And he's into the baseball programs out there. And his sister does. I think she has several children, but I cannot recall. She's never, to my knowledge, been on Facebook and that's the primary mode I use is Facebook.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I never signed up for Facebook either, as you know. But um, hmm.
I'm just trying to see. I want to make sure that I'm not. Yeah. So it's just the two of us right now. Boy, you're doing a great job, Jim. It's almost like a one-on-one here. I love it.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think of who else. Lucia Di Lorenzo was in that group. Um,
You've heard from Lucia?
well, Lucia's family owned a pizza restaurant in Trenton,
Oh,
and they kept it there for a very, very long time. And then about 10 years or so ago, they moved it toward the Mercerville area, and it was near an AMC movie theater, which has since I think closed, because I think once COVID hit, it hit a lot of the theaters very, very hard.
yeah.
And I'm trying to think of um, something about Nat and his brother Tim. They were big, big uh, cartographers, believe it or not.
Yes, I remember. I had a good talk with Matt after you connected us. I remember learning that that was his field. and he had done some work in the Boston area. I think he said for Harvard or Cambridge. I don't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure that was part of it. I don't remember Tim too well, but I do. I can picture him at
Yeah.
that at that age.
Yep. And anybody else you recall that you want to bring up?
Well, I remember you were saying that Libby Bolster was someone that you had not been able to locate, that you tried, and just any luck finding her since we spoke about that?
No, I have not. Libby was one of 13 children, and her brother Tim was graduated from Chapin 1975, and he went on to play. He went on to collegiate work, and he's an actor.
Hmm.
Uh, and he was in. He had a number of parts, and if you look up Tim Bolster, uh, he played in a bunch of parts in a number of videos and films. The oldest brother, I believe, was on the Johnny Carson show as a comedian.
That's right. Yep. Um, I'm blanking on his first name,
I
but I
do not
remember
remember
watching
his
him.
first name, but yeah. And I'm trying to think. And Wes Lofgren is in the film industry. Very nice guy, and he
Mhm.
keeps in touch usually once every week or once every month. And he's got a very nice style about him. And we've got I think we've had the children. We had the child of one Nobel Prize winner in economics. Uh, and
Mhm.
the I happen to be the like basically the linkage for his daughter as a Chapin. She was my advisee, and he sat in on one meeting, and he says, Charlotte just doesn't link up with you real well. So Charlotte went with somebody else, and so, but always a fun time at Chapin, and so many wonderful, wonderful parents who have always reached out and were there for Chapin at the right time to help move things along and things like that. And of course, Chapin has grown by building since you were there. We added a full-size gym,
Mhm.
96 feet 4 inches. Uh,
Mhm.
and I'm trying to think of um, we added a new library, a new lower school, a new upper school, an addition to the upper school, an addition to the addition with a little elevator. So it's moved along a lot.
Mhm. I haven't been there since hmm, probably 1982 or so.
1982.
I think that was the last time I was back to visit. Thomas Thompson invited me to speak at graduation
I remember your talk.
that year. You do. I don't remember my talk.
I remember your talk, and it featured bug zappers. Do you remember that?
It features what? I'm sorry.
UV lights that attract the insects to them, and then they come up and they
Oh,
get zapped.
oh, okay. I don't know. I don't remember talking about that.
I've got an eclectic memory that remembers weird things like that, and there have been you're the only one to talk about a bug zapper in a graduation address. So it
No, I'm not sure how I would have tied that in, but I'll take your word for it.
yeah, it was about bug zappers, and I don't even know if anybody else can remember the. It was some kind of an illusion, an affinity that sometimes you get drawn to the bug zapper. It looks so inviting, and then and
Okay.
it's too late. I don't remember the exact linkage that you used, but don't get drawn to the wrong thing or something like that, maybe.
Um, well, yeah, those were fun days. Um, I I had I always have felt all along as a teacher that um, the teacher learns as much from the student as the other way around in surprising ways. In fact, one of my grad school professors, quite a few years later, used to say, "You will never be as good a student as you will become when you're a teacher." Like there's just something about being part of the process with other people that just makes your own brain wake up and play a more active role, obviously. But yeah, I was always in all the years as English teacher or writing teacher or helper, um, I was always coming across insights and questions that I had not really considered directly. 20 years doing the same book as a reading project in a class, eventually somebody would raise a point I had never thought of, or had reminded me of something I should have been talking about but had overlooked, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And they were just, it's just a lot of fun to be part of their reaching in different ways for whatever it was they wanted to reach for, sports or academics or, yeah. So anyway, lots of good memories of the students there. I still have the yearbooks, the very primitive yearbooks that we had in those days, and
Let us not forget the fact that I believe you are the first to actually begin a formal yearbook for the
yeah,
kids, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. They were primitive, but they were fun. They were fun to put together. Yeah. Um, so I still have those. I have for the 3 years, and then 1 year after, you or someone else sent me one, and so it's a nice way to remember every once in a while some of the individuals that were so great. So if any of those that I would know on the list check in with you again, Jeannie or Nat or Jeff Ladon, who I don't remember as well as his sister.
Yeah,
Um, and please say hello for me.
I will do that. I will do that, Jim. And um, I would just thank you very, very much for coming. And I appreciate, by the way, I'm going to send you an artificially intelligent uh, synopsis of
Okay.
what we talked about. And I don't know if you've ever tried this, but Zoom has an AI interface. It listens to everything we say. And then as soon as I stop the recording, it starts to
Mm.
synthesize it. And it also projects a line by line commentary of what we've said as well. So we have to obviously be very careful about this. But yeah, it's wonderful to have had the opportunity to work with you and so many other uh, good and wonderful teachers at Chapin. And as you said, I've learned so much from the students. And one of the kids that was actually one of my students began the Airbnb program,
Hmm.
and other. Uh, do you remember David Michaels?
I don't think so, no.
Okay. Uh, David Michaels had a number of startups in the Silicon Valley that he worked on, and it's it's amazing and enlightening to know how broad a depth and how broad a focus these kids have had. Some
Mhm.
of them have gone into photography, uh, some have gone into film. After you left, by more than a few years, we had a fellow come in by the name of Rob Traegler, who used to do, he worked at in Hamilton, Grice Middle School, or I think it might have been Grice Middle School, but he came over to Chapin, and the headmaster said, this is after Thomas Thompson, said, hey, uh, why don't you start a summer camp? And I said, you sure you want me to do this? Yeah. Start a summer camp. Okay, so um, this fella was doing little videos in his class, just little short snippets, and so we got his. I said, "Why don't you do a summer program?"
Mhm.
Nobody had come. Never know.
Mhm.
So he started it, and then he ran it for I think it was 18 years, and
Mhm.
uh, and his son got in. His son was his first assistant, and I hired his son. He was 15 years old. That's from Steinert High School, and this fellow Rob Traegler. He goes, "I think you'd be good." I said, so I had to give permission from the head, and he said, "If you think he's good, fine." Well, after he graduated from Steinert, he went to William Patterson, and his dad said, "Well, look, if you want to really get into film, why don't you just go west?" So he did. He got into the Dr. Phil show, and he was helping with the web interface at Dr. Phil. And then finally, he got a bunch of really nice uh, gigs with one of which was the producer of boy, Amy Allen. I don't know if you remember Amy Allen. She just did these paranormal shows,
Mhm.
and well, he eventually was the director of Amy Allen's program, and then married Amy Allen, and sadly since divorced, but he's still out there doing his thing. And his brother is also in the film industry and was with the Kardashians for a long time. Uh, I, I don't know much about them, but you know, but I don't want to hold you too much longer. It looks like you're the only show in town, and I'm in a way very happy about that because I'll post this up, and everybody can get a chance to see you once again. And I think my timing was probably off, and some people probably forgot that there was a Zoom or couldn't find the link. You know how it
Yeah.
is. It's
Yeah.
Murphy's Law.
Yeah, people get busy. But thanks for trying, Steve, and congratulations on your legacy, the Runathon. It's a really wonderful thing. Um,
Well, Jim, thank you for coming. Thank you for your uh, 3 years of service to Chapin, right?
yep, that's right.
Years.
Yep.
And, those were formative years for you, I'm sure, because you went north. And how many presidents came from Braintree?
Um, well, John Adams and John Quincy Adams were from either Braintree or the next town, Quincy. Um, or now it's known as Quincy. I think those are the only two.
Those are the only two. Well, um, it. I'm sorry, Jean was not here to meet up with you because I had spoken. I called her yesterday, and she's kind of like, "Oh, I don't know if I can make it or not," because I think she was in the process of building a high school out there in Seattle and getting all the accoutrements ready there.
Well,
They
this,
were,
yeah, this would be the middle of her workday too, right?
absolutely, absolutely, and for those of us who are over here, some folks are probably going, boy, I'm glad this day's over. But tomorrow is officially the 49th Runathon, and we've had them in all kinds of weather, all kinds of conditions, really, really hot, some of them really, really cold,
Mhm.
some of them pouring down rain. I remember one time we walked to Rocky Hill and back in a rainstorm. It was just raining the whole single time. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
But taught us a lot. And thank you again, Jim, for coming. And
Thanks for hosting. It's a
and
good idea, Steve. And stay healthy and talk to you soon, I hope. Okay.
all right, thanks again, Jim.
All
I'm
right.
going
Take care.
to end this meeting for now and try to open it again. Maybe I'll catch another one.
Okay.
Peace.
Take care.
Thank you.